everyone, and welcome back to the Champions Podcast. We're glad to have you with us today. We have kind of a different episode today, but it's something that I find interesting, and hopefully you do too. This actually comes from a song from one of my favorite country artists, Brad Paisley, where it's the song Letter to Me. And I thought about this over this past week how what will we tell ourselves to the younger, like what will we tell the younger version and to see where we are today? So I'm going to start with Champ first on what he would tell his younger self, and then I'll say what I would tell my younger self. So go ahead, Champ.
My younger self. Oh, this one is actually pretty hard for me because I don't ever think I've really ever grown up. I don't think I've ever really grown up. And the reason I want to start this way when you mentioned this conversation and I started thinking about it, I again, and I mean that, like I don't think I've ever grown up because the way I look at life and the way that I see things is every day is a journey. And so like we won't get this moment back, right? And so take it all in for everything it's worth. There's been a little bit of a I'm in a little bit of a season of a transition right now. And so like knowing like I'm trying so hard to soak up every single moment of this present time, because once that ends, I won't get that back. Sure, I'll go through more different seasons, but I won't get this moment back. Um, and so, what I would say would be a couple things. Number one, soak in the moment. Um, just relish in it, sit in it, marinate in it. Um, the next thing is don't take yourself too seriously because we're nothing but vessels that will fade. And so our lives can be eternal through Christ, but our earthly existence will fade. In 100 years, there was a little reel several months ago that I kept seeing over and over again. It was like, did you realize that in 100 years, somebody else will be in your job, somebody else will be in your house, somebody else will probably never remember your name. Um, or 2 weeks after you're gone, they're already starting to work on the replacement if something like that happened. And I know for some people that may sound morbid, but like don't take yourself too seriously. Enjoy the moment, relish it. Don't take yourself too seriously. And then the other thing is live it, live your life to a point that you don't regret anything. Um, so, and I know,
Hey,
again, I guess I'm talking a lot about life.
I
Or
want to
go
stop
ahead.
there just for a second because I have a question to ask you before you jump to the next thing. When you were little, and obviously you deal with challenges like I do, just different ones. Were there ever, you say don't take yourself too seriously. Obviously, you had to have enough confidence to pursue your dreams of that. But was there ever doubts in your mind about maybe people are right that my challenges will prevent me? Or were you like, screw that? That's not me. I can do whatever. I can climb a building if I want to. Like, I just imagine younger champ, because I've had the honor to know you since you were out the womb. Uh, I've never known you to like shy away from a challenge. So how was that? And talk about that because you're talking about not take yourself too seriously, but to a point, you had to have enough confidence to say, well, I'm not having a God complex, but at the same time, he's anointing me to do what I'm doing in life now.
And that's why I think these kind of conversations, I hope that in the process of like when this is released, that people will take the time to listen to it to know that when you asked me this question about this episode, it wasn't just about like I mean, sure it may have caught me off guard, but as soon as you asked, it was like all these things started bubbling up that I knew. And so I really appreciate that because you asked me to do it and I was like, I don't know what to think. And then when you asked, I was like, oh wow, that's great. That's cool. But to get back to your original question, I don't think there was ever a moment where, and I'm being honest, like I don't, for me personally, there was never a moment where I thought, I don't know if this is possible. Like, sure, you have doubt, right? I mean, let's be real. Sure, I have doubt, but I don't think I ever went and said, no, I can't do that. Like, I don't think I've ever even now, like even in my 30s, and realizing that life is changing and like I'm as we say getting older and age is not the age is coming up, but like you are getting older and there will be things that you can't do. Um, I still don't have that. Like, I don't know. I had a friend ask me or tell me the other day, like, I still feel like I'm 16, 20. I still have that heart. I still want to be relevant for those folks. I still want to. And so to answer your question, no, I don't think there's ever been a moment where I've just said, eh. Like there may have again, there may have been some doubt, but even in that doubt, I've never stopped. I've kind of wanted to, I'm a push the envelope type person. And so I think a lot of that for me, Heather, comes back into the way I was raised. Um, So I can remember hearing stories, and I remember this. I came home from middle school one day and told mom and dad that I wanted to try out for the basketball team. Oh, um, mom, I think it was
He's
dad who,
not on the basketball team. He's a pastor.
yeah, and I think it was mom who at first was like, eh. And then dad's response was, he'll do it once or twice and he'll get sick of it and he'll never want to do it again. And I think I did finish the little season of whatever that was, and no, I didn't ask to do it again, but I did it, right? And I think for me, sometimes even now, it's like, I just want to do it just to say I did it, right? I just want to be able to say I did X, Y, Z. Um, Like for example, I went on a cruise about 2 years ago, and I'm about to do it again in February. And at that moment, I thought, nah, I'll do it. I won't do it again. And then I did it, and I didn't really want to do it again, like right then and there, but I wanted to do it again with the people that I'm going to do it with this time. And so it was more like and I'm just doing it just to experience life and um just to be able to do that. So I think there's those three things that I was talking about in the beginning, and then the just do it. Um, do it because you know that you can. Do it even if you feel like you can't. And I go back to what my mom Monica said in her episode. Even when you get to a point where you wonder why or you wonder if you made a mistake, you kind of, or at least I do. This is exactly what I do. I stop, I sit, and I just think, well, this too shall pass, or something else will come along. Um, Sorrow may last for the night, but joy comes in the morning. And so that's like that's really real for me. Um, and there will be another podcast coming out pretty soon that I'll talk a little bit more about that aspect. Because I mean, to be honest, that's what I live with on a day-to-day basis. I'm going to um be honest about myself. So I am a person who doesn't need people to gratify me, but I need something new to look forward to. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
I like I don't want to do stuff for selfish ambition or vain conceit or awards or recognition, but I need a little bit of that from the Lord and from other people, from community, from both.
But it doesn't
Um,
feel good because it doesn't mean that you're doing it for the gratification. You're doing it as kind of like a wink from God to say, okay, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
And so like that's why I live in that kind of I live in that because when my life gets static or I just do go through the motions, you can ask Heather or anybody that knows me. I'm just kind of like, hey, how are you? Good life. Good good talk. That was good. I'm glad. Thank you very much. Whereas when new things come into my life, I like get excited. My countenance on my face changes. My joy, my voice gets let's talk crap about Champ. Well, let Champ talk crap about Champ. Champ's voice changes, gets a little bit higher. Um, I laugh a little bit more. I don't know. And like I think that goes back to what would I tell my younger self? Like I'm content. Sure, there are lots of things that I want in this life that I pray very hard for, that Heather and I have conversations about all the time, that I don't have. But when I stop and think about it, like I have no doubt that everything happens for a reason. I have no regrets for the way my life has turned out. I've made stupid decisions. I've done things that I shouldn't have done. I've done sinful things against the Lord. I'm human, but the Lord's been faithful, and it's not all my righteousness that anything like that's happened. It's all because of Him. So I'm gonna let Heather share a little bit now, because if I don't, I could talk about this forever. I didn't realize this one was gonna be so good for me. And then I do have something from a biblical perspective that I want to kind of twist it all back together. So go ahead. What would you tell your younger self, my friend?
I would tell myself that you would become a 34-year-old warrior and beat the odds of people saying that you are not going to make it to 10 to 15 to 20 to 25 to 30, and that you will survive two double lung transplants and being on life support multiple times and a kidney transplant and dialysis, and you would become a songwriter and an author and exercise physiologist and a podcaster and a advocate and serve on different committees with the CF Foundation. What people don't understand is when I say all that, that's not in a bragging way. People have no idea what I was like under the age of 10. I was the shyest kid you would ever meet. But something clicked
Yeah,
in
I
me
don't remember that.
when I was 10, and I realized I had a voice, and it was finally okay to use it. And so I stepped into my own and started using that voice. And I like doing that, not just for myself, because a lot of when I do like motivational videos, I'm not just saying that to other people, I'm saying it to myself as well. Champ and I talked about this, how sometimes you say something so much you start believing it. That's what I do. I get up with gratitude. I get up and say thank you. I get up and say, today may not be perfect, but it doesn't have to be perfect to be thankful. Like I believe those things. And I've believed it since I was a kid because I knew that my life was different. But I started to know that maybe I was isolated more as a child, like having to be basically I was homebound, but it's similar to homeschool. Like I missed out on a lot of proms and a lot of school lunches and hanging out with friends and stuff like that. So, but I realized that what was I really missing? Conversations. God had a
Drama.
for me. Yeah, God had a plan for me, and now my life has so many wonderful people in it that none of that mattered. And I think what I would tell my younger self is that you will go through some of the toughest things you will ever feel, you will ever physically, mentally, and emotionally go through, but you will survive. And for those few people that do doubt you and say that you will never be anything because of cystic fibrosis, you'll never be able to do that because God's not going to let you get to that point. I say, well, sometimes it's bad to look foolish. I never had necessarily doubts myself, but I guess I questioned would I make it that far because of what I was going through. But I'm like Champ, I never had necessarily doubts about my capabilities. I knew that if that's where God wanted me, that's where He was going to place me. But I think I would tell my
What
younger self to just hit the ground running, and that's what I do now. And honestly, that's what I would tell other people that are growing up or whatever is to believe in yourself. Don't listen to
what
static noise.
what do you okay? I'm gonna flip this one on its head. Where do you think you and I are different in those capacities? Because I do in some ways I believe what you're saying. I do, and I know that to be true. Like I don't think you've ever said eh. But in what way do you think you and I are different in our um
Champ lives like he doesn't have cerebral palsy. No, and somebody might be listening and say, "Oh my gosh, how could she say something like that to
it's true.
the truth
It is so true.
in a respectful, loving way?" But what I mean by that is, I guess I know every second of my life I have CF, and that's how I live it. So like that's where my drive comes
Okay.
from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas Champ, like he knows he has it. Obviously, he's with a walker every day. It's like, but it's almost like Champ forgets he has that walker. So like he'll be in a hammock, and I'll ask him, "How'd you get up in the hammock?" Like he does things that I guess statistically most people would say, well, that may not be possible. But let me tell you, Champ finds a way. And I just think to myself, sometimes he just lives without, it's like he doesn't think he has CP. And I think that's a wonderful, wonderful mentality, honestly. But that would be the differences. Champ has said, I'm
Okay.
more the
Yeah.
realist and he's more the opportunist. So, like, he will just do anything. And I'm over here like, how's this going to affect next week? How's this going to affect next month? Where Champ just like, okay, let's just do. And like his schedule. He has the busiest schedule I know. And I'll think to myself, how in the world is he going to fit all this in? But that's just how Champ lives his life. Does
Yeah.
he have CP to do all that? No, he just does it. Does he have to find a way to get there? Yes, he does. Will he find a way? Yes, he will.
Or sometimes I'll just kind of like expect everybody else to do. I mean, I don't know. I think but I think Heather is exactly right. I think that you and let's be very clear. I want to be clear in the way that I say this because I think you said it so well. I think you recognize that you have cystic fibrosis and you know as you had said in a birthday video, like every single day with CF, you live with this ball over your head as or the reality of this could be it. Okay. This could be the last one, or these could be the last. Heck, this could be the last second for all we know. Whereas I don't live with that over me. And I think, but you don't let it define you. Whereas I don't even see it. You recognize it. I don't, sometimes I go like walking and running into a steel pole that's standing right in front of me where I need to go around it. You see the poles. You don't sit there. And I guess the other thing I would say about honesty is sometimes I ignore, right? I ignore the fact that I do when I need to recognize it. I think I think Heather is a little more content with the stages and seasons of life that she's been in and are in right now, fair, than I am. I think you know what your limitations are. And because I don't see mine and don't recognize mine, I struggle more so. Not that I sit over here and beat myself up, but like, and Heather, if you have to crop this out, you can. I think about like relationships. Like you have wonderful friend circles, right? And I do as well. And I'm not, I listen, I love my people. And my people know who they are and they know that I love them. But I think one of the things that I've always admired about Heather is I, not that Heather wouldn't want someone to share life with, but I think she has become very content in where the Lord has her. And sometimes I'm not in that respect. I'm just being honest. And it's hard,
That's because you need some dogs and a cat.
but then it again, yes, I need a dog. I'm okay. I'll take the dog. I'm not taking the cat. Nope, I don't want the cat. The cat, nope, nope, we're not doing that.
Birthdays.
And I'm just being honest. Like I think that's what I respect a lot about you as well, my friend, is that I see that respect in you. Whereas that's something that I want more than anything. And if the Lord doesn't, let me tell you this, if the Lord doesn't give that to me, I will wrestle, but he will give me the strength, just as he has for the last 33 years, to keep pushing forward. It doesn't define who I am. It's just an ad. And I think honestly, that's another reason why I struggle sometimes is because like I don't see the cerebral palsy. I don't see that. And so when it comes to relationships in that capacity, I'm like, oh, we got to think about this. Oh, okay. I didn't, that one didn't, oh, that person's gonna have to, she's gonna have to drive. Oh, okay. I didn't see that. I don't think like that. And I think that's been a hard thing because I don't. And so sometimes I need people like Heather who are more the realist. She's still an optimist, but she's also a realist. And I'm not. I'm just an opportunist and optimist. And so, yeah. Anything else from that respect?
And there's nothing wrong with being any of those. And I would say for the younger self to believe in yourself and see where God takes you. Because if He has a plan, there's nothing anybody can pray, anybody can do to change that plan, in my opinion.
Hmm.
We are thankful for where we are today and who we are today. And I'm proud of us.
I'm proud of us too. Um, and the last thing I wanted to share, when I think about the grief may last in the night, but joy comes in the morning. One of the things and one of the reasons I'll talk about that in the context of our younger selves because I will say this, I've been reading through a lot of David's story, the King David, the shepherd boy who slayed the giant, for those of you who may not know. And David was a wild buck, is what I call David. David was wild as a buck. Loved, he lived life. He was an adventurer. He did what he wanted to do. He kind of beat to the beat of his own drum in many ways. He did things he wasn't supposed to. Um, and I've been wrestling with a lot of David because there's a portion in one of the Psalms, I think it's 52, Psalm 52, where David talks about um, that all of my righteousness got me to heaven, right? And I've struggled with that because David was a tough old dude, but God still loved him. And I think the reason I've wrestled with that is because I didn't like that phrase. I didn't like that phrase at all, that my righteousness got me there. Um, and I think the reason I bring that up is because I want us to realize, first of all, our righteousness didn't get us there, okay? Um, I have to remind myself of that all the time. Um, and I think I do, but like nothing I've ever done was done by myself. Like God has been so good to me. And people went, why do you bring that up? Um, because here's what I want to tell my younger self or to somebody listening who's just wondering, okay, what am I supposed to do next? I want somebody to pause, whoever is listening to this, and think of it this way. There are people in this world that accomplish things based on what they think they're capable of. Are they intelligent? Are they smart? Are they, do they have looks? Do they have money? Do they have power or influence? I want you to stop right there because none of those things get you to where we are. God can, the Lord gives. I'm going to Job. I'm going preacher on this for a minute, but the Lord gives and he takes away. And so everything that we are comes from him. Every good and perfect gift comes down from the Father of lights. And that comes out of the book of James. And I will tell you that when we talk about, or at least for me, when I talk about my younger self and the things that I've done and the experiences that I've had, like, yeah, I love to think, look what Champ did, look what Champ did, but look what God did with Champ. And being a willing vessel, being open. And if you're like Heather and you are in the season where you're quiet, that season of spark is going to come. Um, and don't look at me and Heather and want to mimic what we've done, even as a seasoned person or a full-fledged adult. Don't mimic that. Do what God's called you to do. Be the person that you need to be right here, right now, because I'm going to tell you and I'm going to shut up. I have no retreat and no regrets in this life. I'm gone. There we go. Live like I don't have CP, like I don't see it. That's me. There you go.
Well, we hope y'all enjoyed this episode and we'll catch you next week. God bless.